Okay, everybody, welcome back to hour two of Free Comic Day Online. That was an action-packed first hour. Thanks for everybody who participated in the sale. Oh, I can get rid of that. We'll be starting shortly thing there. Thanks for everybody who participated. I know it was a pretty crazy first hour, and I know some people didn't get the items that they wanted. So, when you're running a limited sale like that, and everything is really in low supply, only some people are going to be able to get them. I'm sorry about that, but I hope everybody can get something today through the course of the day. I just want to remind everybody to when they are adding an order, it's not automatic that the free comics get added to your order. So please remember to just throw some free comics in your cart as well. On the main page of Stadium Comics, let me just take everybody there real quickly. If we go to the main page, you will see a couple of things. See a lot of things actually. But right on the very front page, our banners for the sales and stuff that we're going to be doing throughout the day are here, and things will populate in there as we talk about them, and we'll refer to those during the sales. But this one right here, the Free Comic Day Online Free Comics, that's where you want to go to add your comics to your order. We know you guys want free books. Please try to remember to add them as you're doing your as you're going through your transaction. Okay, you'll find it right there on the front page, and we appreciate that. And again, just follow the rules that are in the description of the video here below. I won't go over them at length again this time around, but I will when we have additional sales later. But just basically, we want everyone to keep it to one lot of free comics per customer for the duration of the event, for the entire day. So if you guys could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. And we do have the combine code. Let me just throw that up real quick. We got a question coming in about that. We do have the combine code that's available on our Shopify website, stadiumcomics.com, and you can use that combine code at discount to combine shipping costs if you've already made an order and have paid for shipping and you don't want to keep paying shipping each time. You can use combine. It'll deduct the shipping costs for you, so you don't have to worry about keep paying for it. The only caveat to that is we may have to ask you for some additional shipping fees later if like you order like 100 items and it's going to cost us like $20 to ship rather than the $10 or $11 you were originally charged. We might have to just talk about that, but we'll figure all that out after the sale. We're pretty easygoing like that, and we'll make sure that everybody's taken care of. Okay, great. So thank you guys for joining us for this hour two of Free Comic Day Online. As I mentioned before, one of the main reasons we're doing this event is because we didn't want to let a Saturday in May pass without the awesomeness of the Free Comic Book Day event that normally happens this time of year, where we get to celebrate the art form of comic books. We get to invite a whole bunch of people to our brick and mortar store. And we usually get a lot of awesome creator guests to come out as well. And it's a lot of fun. We really enjoy it. The creators enjoy it. The customers and fans really enjoy it. And COVID-19 has kind of prevented that this year. So we wanted to step up to the plate and offer something in place of that to fill the void. And that's why we're doing Free Comic Day Online. We've had a bunch of our creator friends who've been working with us for many years, excitedly agree to participate in the event, and we thank them for that. And you're going to meet one of them right now. His name is Mr. Adam Gorham. Let's bring him on in. Adam, how are you doing today?
Hey,
we can hear you. We can see you.
I'm waving to the audience. Hello.
How's it going, Adam?
It's going really well. All things considered, I'm doing well, and I'm staying, relatively sane and healthy.
You're staying socially distant?
I'm staying socially distant, emotionally distant.
Emotionally.
All the distances.
All the distances. Nice. So we've known Adam for a number of years. When we first met you, you had just finished work on a book called The Vampire Conspiracy. That was a long, that feels like a century ago. Vampire Conspiracy was like your first real foray into comics, right?
Yeah, it's what I cut my teeth on. I guess a proper decade ago, because that would have been 2009 when I
Yeah.
came in. When I came into your store, and this is back when there were comic stores, and you could walk into a comic shop. You could say hi to the owner, and you could have a Marvel movie spoiled for you by a customer.
Oh yeah, that still happens. Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I remember coming into there and asking if you would sell my indie book on consignment, and that was something that you guys were really good about for many creators, and still are, I'm sure. But at the time, that was like huge to me. So you guys have been in my good books ever since.
Awesome, man. Well, I was gonna say most people when they cut their teeth on their first comic project, they don't choose a full length graphic novel. I think you fit into a rare category there of you just swung for the fences right off the bat.
I lucked out with an opportunity. Before that, I had drawn, like I had drawn like a few pages for myself here and there, but I found an opportunity with a fellow named Mark Morgenstern who wanted to adapt his film into into the comic medium, and was looking for an artist, and so found me, and I found him. So I went from drawing maybe like 8 to 16 pages sequentially total to drawing 128 pages for one project. So it was very much, it was a sink or swim situation. So I had to step up or shut up.
Now, do you think that at some point in the future, like, when we look back on the eons of comic book properties and creators that have come and gone, that those copies of Vampire Conspiracy that I still have in my possession, will they be worth, potentially, will they be the next Action Comics #1?
I mean, for your sake, I hope so. I hope you're
Yeah, me
sitting on
too.
a. I hope you're. I hope you're sitting on a gold mine.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
Actually, when I was in Chicago this past February, possibly the last comic convention of 2020, a woman had knew who I was going to be there. Went out and bought a copy of the Vampire Conspiracy off eBay and brought it to the show for me to sign. And I was like, eBay, thinking, knowing full well that there are boxes in people's possession who would have gladly sold her many
Right.
if she had known. But yeah, that was pretty wild.
That's cool, man. When you get to see it out there like that all these years later in a place where you never thought you'd see it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome. We're gonna get to where your career's gone since the heady days of Vampire Conspiracy in a second, but I want to just you're getting some comments down there. Michael Fisher says it's good to see you, Adam.
Oh, Mike Fisher, he's a great guy.
Brandon saying what's up. We got
What's
some
up,
people
Brandon?
waving at you. And
Hi.
we got Jan saying hi. So lots
Hi,
of people saying
Jan.
hi to you. Ricky Lima, just as
Ricky.
doing his Ric Flair impression.
I love it.
So we are gonna go into some of the stuff that we have on offer with you today as a part of Free Comic Day Online. And if you go right now over to our Artist Alley page on our website, we should be seeing, let's go over there now. I'll share the screen here for a second, and we'll see if we've got that up and running. One second. How's your morning going? How are mornings for Adam Gorham on a weekend?
Time is time's gone a little soft on me. So I don't I don't feel like going to bed when I probably should, and then I don't feel like getting up when I probably should. But
I know that feeling.
I was up late last night and up early this morning. My 4-year-old was up at 6:45. So
Oh, really?
yeah. So I'm a little rough.
Those
I mean,
4-year-olds, man. How
yeah.
dare they? How dare
Yeah.
they? Okay, Adam, we got a virtual smorgasbord. Can I say that about what we have here for you?
Yeah, it looks like a good
stuff
spread.
available that you've worked on. Of course, we've got some signed issues that you've signed for us over the years.
Yeah.
Dead Drop, New Mutants, Dead Souls, Punk Mambo. Punk Mambo was a huge hit for us. That variant.
I'm happy to hear.
Yeah. I know that's been one of the more popular characters that you've been working on over the last
Yeah.
little while. I know anytime you post pictures of Punk Mambo stuff on your Instagram and stuff, I know it gets a lot of attention and love.
Gets a lot of love from the Valiant fans, and people who seem to just love female punk rockers as well. And that's a great cover you guys got for
Mirka
your
and
store
Dolfo.
exclusive. Yeah.
We got some Rocket #1 signed. Like, how cool was that for you, being able to work on Rocket Raccoon?
It was super cool. Also very unexpected. I remember I had just finished The Violence, my Image book with Ed Brisson and Mike Garland and Tom Muller, and was unsure of what I was going to do afterward when I was approached by Marvel to do something. And hi, Todd. And they were like, would you be interested in doing something for us? We love The Violent. And so I thought it would be something in that vein, like something within the Marvel Knights wheelhouse. And I was like, yes, baby. And then they got in touch with me and offered me Rocket. And I was still very, very excited, but it was just not what I was expecting until I read the treatment for it. And Al Ewing, who's a wonderful writer, had this really neat take on the character, which would be, it'd kind of be like Rocket's Ocean's 11, and it would be told within this, noir approach.
And anybody who's into what's going on with like Immortal Hulk and stuff right now, your writer, just before it was Ewing, right?
Al Ewing, yeah.
Yeah. So huge, turn of career for him.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal.
I'd like to think that your work on Rocket inspired him in some way. That's the narrative we'll go with.
Sure.
So yeah, he's an but yeah, he's a great writer and did a great job. Like, your Rocket series was it was unconventional for the character and what was going on within the Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff like that. It was kind of a departure from that, but a refreshing one. So
yeah, I think so as well.
So we've also got, let's take a look at some other stuff we've got going on in your Artist Alley booth here on our website. We've got some graded stuff here. We've got some sketches that you've worked on.
Wow.
Yeah, some of these are probably like, do you remember doing some of these at our store way back when?
I do. I remember that Spider-Man. I remember the Walking Dead Jughead.
The Walking Dead Jughead's a personal favorite of mine. That's pretty awesome. I was when you did that cover, Afterlife with Archie started to become a big deal, and and you ended up working on Jughead the Hunger.
I worked on Jughead the Hunger. Before that, I drew a variant for Afterlife with Archie.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, because it was for a few issues beyond whatever was last published. I was very, very excited about it because you guys had kind of turned me on to Afterlife. You were singing its praises in the store, and so I got reading it, and I was like, this series was awesome. It was like reading a Stephen King novel set in Riverdale.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Okay, I just want to touch on one more quick thing before we get back to our discussion, and that's you're doing an awesome thing here, and you're offering commissions to people.
I certainly am.
So here on the Artist Alley page, this is where you can get your Adam Gorham head sketch commission on a blank cover of your choosing. We've got a few of them here to choose from. Okay.
Yes.
And also, if you would rather just have a sketch without a cover on a 9x12 piece of sketch paper, we've got that as an option for you as well. So how this is going to work is you're going to add it to your cart and pay for it. And in the notes, you can indicate what you're looking for. This is a head sketch, so please keep that in mind. Here's an example of what one would look like that Adam did recently. Pretty awesome. I saw you post that on Instagram the other day.
Yep.
So it's black and white, and on a cover or on a 9x12 piece of sketch paper. So Adam's available for commissions, and then just you make your purchase, and then we can work at the details afterwards of what you'd like on it. and then Adam's going to do it up for you over the next little while, and we'll get it sent out to you. So just so you know, the funds raised from this go to Adam. So it's our way of giving back to the creators on Free Comic Day. So really appreciate your guys' support with that. And Adam's happy to do that for you if you would like to get a commission. Adam, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
While we're still sharing the screen, let me just stop the sharing there. I want to just see something here. Something interesting you've been doing lately. You're a very helpful person during this shutdown, during the periods of self-isolation. You've been posting a how to draw series. I see you posted a new one this morning. My personal favorite, though, is how to draw the calzone.
Sure.
So why don't you talk a little bit about how your how to draw series came to be?
It's I saw a void that needed filling during these troubling times and decided to rise to the occasion. There's people have a lot more time in isolation to do things that they had been putting off or thinking about doing. And I think for a lot of folks, drawing is one of those things. And the problem is that not many people know where to begin, or they're too intimidated. So I thought I would create a helpful guide for people to start, from a very basic shape and then turn that into anything. So I freehanded just this freeform oblong shape. And I was coincidentally, was hungry, thinking of the foods that I might have if I could go out into the world.
Sure.
Calzone was at the top of the list in that moment. And so, from nothingness, I, drew myself a calzone.
A true stroke of genius.
But you can too, is I think the real beautiful thing.
That's the message. You could, if I can do it, you can too. Interesting comment on this calzone.
Yes.
Colonel Tony Moore, of course, co-creator of The Walking Dead.
Yes.
And he's saying that I can't believe you're giving away all you secrets, you sucker. So
Tony and I have differing philosophies on this. I know he comes from a good place. He just wants to see me, do well.
Of course, we all want to see that. What about this Canada Commission? That was awesome. Was that for somebody, or
yes.
That is incredible.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that was set up for me by my rep, Cam Jarvis, over at InkyKnuckles.com. Cam was good enough to, he's, as my art rep, he sells original art, but he also arranges commissions for me as well. And I had mentioned out loud and to him that I would like to try doing more drawings of anime characters. I'm not an anime or manga guy traditionally, but my oldest daughter is getting into anime and manga in a big, big way. And I'd like to, connect with her, with the things that she loves,
sure,
but also make some money.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So, having an opportunity to draw anime characters who I wouldn't be familiar with otherwise seemed like a really fun thing to do. I know that Akira's been around for a while, but believe it or not, I haven't seen the film. And although I have one big tome from it, I haven't read all the way through it. So, this seemed kind of like, a long time coming, doing this particular character from this particular property. But I have a few other anime characters lined up that I'm excited to get to.
That's awesome, man. It blew me away to see it. So it was. There was one other one on here that I wanted to show that you did recently. That is just like, that is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Was that also a commission for somebody?
Yeah. So a while back, I did some artwork in the TMNT 100, their milestone issue there, and IDW sent me a slew of variants, and a handful of them were sketch covers. And they did this neat thing where they had different sketch covers, which were the different colors for each turtle. So, I posted these that they were up for sale to, have a drawing on them. And so I've had various people buy them, and I've been getting around to them, one by one. And this is for a guy who got one of each color, one for each turtle. And I had
Oh,
done,
nice.
yeah, and so I had drawn Leo a few times, wielding his swords and doing different things. But for this one, like I was back in that noir state of mind, and I haven't seen too many drawings of the turtles. Hey, Wilson. Wilson, this is for Wilson, incidentally.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yeah. And so I have murky memories of the turtles in trench coats and fedoras, making them indistinguishable from other people on the streets.
Right. Yeah. I
So,
mean, famously in the first movie, right? Raph
yeah,
was just walking
yeah,
around in New York.
just like a regular dude.
Yeah, trench coat will do that to somebody.
That's right.
Yeah, so super awesome, man. So you've had the chance to work on let me stop sharing the screen here. You have worked on a bunch of awesome stuff over your career. You've had a chance to work on a bunch of things for Valiant Comics, as we know.
Yeah.
You've had to work with you've gotten a chance to work with IDW on stuff like Ninja Turtles. You've worked with Marvel on stuff like the New Mutants, Rocket Raccoon. You've worked on a ton of things. Like, what is the one thing that you look on from your career and you're like, wow, I can't believe I got to do that, to draw that?
I mean, like, I'm not so jaded that I'm still wowed by everything that I've gotten to do.
Right.
There are many things that I would like to do, but I still have these moments where I do look back on my career, especially like this, at the end of the year, I tend to put together these collages of everything that I've done in the year that was published. And when I do those things, like I always feel tremendously grateful for those opportunities. And not to toot my own horn, but proud of myself, I guess. But these every each one of these is something that I have some kind of connection to. Like it's crazy that I've gotten to work on the Ninja Turtles as much as I have,
right?
Because like every kid growing up loved the Turtles, and so having a chance to have anything to my name with them is very, very cool. Working for Marvel is literally a childhood goal of mine, and I've managed to do that. So that's I can't quite get over that. So and then also working within the Marvel corner, the mutant corner of the Marvel universe, something I've always wanted to do. And so I mean, like I think I look back on everything, and I'm wowed by everything. If in particular, the New Mutants was pretty mind blowing. As I say, like I was a big X-Men fan growing up, and so getting to work within the mutant Marvel universe was a high point for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. And well, we got a question coming in from William James, who's asking, what project would you like to work on one day that you haven't had a chance to yet?
Wolverine. I'd love to do something directly with related to Wolverine. I recently drew an issue of Savage Avengers that would have come out in April, and so that was my first opportunity to draw Wolverine in a professional capacity. But it was just for one page in one instance, and so I was hooked. I needed more of it. But incidentally, in that issue, I also got to draw Conan, which was like another huge thing off of my bucket list. So
sure.
But Wolverine, Batman, Daredevil, Spider-Man, all of the hallmarks. But apart from that, I have stories of my own that I want to tell, and I'm trying to make that happen.
Awesome, man. Speaking of Red Sonja or Conan, you recently got the opportunity to work on an homage cover for Red Sonja. They were doing homages, and you did a line of homage covers.
Yeah,
how did that come about?
I was a really weird thing. So Dynamite initially approached me about doing I think 4 or something like that, or it started out small, and it was an idea that kept getting bigger. as the editor Nate continued to think about it. But I had put out feelers about wanting to do cover work for Dynamite, because they have a lot of fun properties that Red Sonja being one of them, Vampirilla, James Bond, all that. So I had been wanting to work on these characters for a little bit, and when the opportunity came, it was very exciting. But the fact that they were not just homage covers, but they were homages to Todd McFarlane, and his, homaging some of his most prolific covers, and others that were maybe less prolific, but Todd McFarlane covers nonetheless.
Right.
So it was super, super cool to do, but also very challenging, because as anybody who knows and loves Todd McFarlane's work is aware, like, Todd McFarlane has, he's all of his art has this tremendous energy that obeys its own laws of physics and proportionality and anatomy. So having to draw characters, especially a character like Red Sonja, in poses that were meant for Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, was very challenging.
Yeah.
But I think I did okay. I think I did both, McFarlane's covers and the characters justice.
Yeah.
But it was super cool to do.
Yeah, and if anyone's interested in the Red Sonja, I know that I think we have some of those up on our site. I was just showing that now.
Is the Red Sonja the only one that made it out before?
It still hasn't shipped.
Oh, okay.
So it's coming, I guess, as soon as things open back up. So that would be a pre-order for people. The COVID's kind of thrown everything for a loop, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I do have a question, though, from Todd Lewis. He's asking, if we got a commission from Adam, could we supply the sketch cover we want it on? That's a good question. Logistically, I don't know. How would we work that out, Adam?
My voice quivered there. Just the thought of receiving packages.
So,
I think that.
Do you think that's doable? Could we do that? If we had Todd mail maybe the comic to us at Stadium Comics, and then we would get that into your hands somehow.
Yep, that would be fine with
you?
me. Yep. I think that's probably the smartest way to go about it.
So Todd, what we would advise you to do is make the purchase on the Stadium website, and maybe choose the 9x12 sketch option. So that it doesn't take any of the other comics out of the inventory, and then just add a note that you're gonna contact us and send us your book and get it to us, and then we can look at doing it that way. Rob's kind of Rob's like, why are you doing that? But it's okay. We'll handle it, Todd. If that's what you want to do, we want to make sure Adam gets the opportunity to do the commission. We'll figure out all the logistics afterwards.
Is Rob behind the scenes there?
Rob is not here. We're also physically distancing,
okay.
And it's for the best, Adam. Really,
oh yeah, of course.
Rob and I are going into the shop at different times. Like, we won't even. I haven't seen Rob in months. So
okay.
He's watching at home, and he's shooting me text messages when I screw up. If you see me looking down on my phone, it's because I said something wrong, and Rob's correct. So that's a great question, Todd. Thank you for that. William James with a follow-up asks, for Wolverine, would you rather draw him in costume or out of costume?
I would want to start him out in costume, and then have that costume get torn to bits over just the pure damage that gets done, to the point where it's just, him in yellow spandex pants and blue briefs. I think that's the way to go. Nice. I always like, when you would just see like the frayed bits hanging over his red belts, and he's just like, that would be my end point.
That's your ideal Wolverine.
Yeah, I like Wolverine in a tank top and all that stuff, as well as some flannel. Those are fun, but I want to do it real proper, like.
Awesome. Who are some artists and like styles that you looked up to when you were like coming up through the industry? Who are some things that pop into mind for you?
People of artists that I I've admired. There's many artists that I've admired and have inspired me. It's funny now that I'm on the spot. They're hard to think of. But what's cool about it is that some of my favorite artists I've gotten to become friends with and acquainted with. So that's really, really exciting. Like I looked up to, like, I loved Adam Kubert's work on probably one of the first things that I ever saw his work on and fell in love with was Weapon X from the Age of Apocalypse storyline. I really loved his work in that. It was just so dynamic and energetic, and it had this really wonderful like life to his figures. And then I would, when I eventually returned to comics in my late teens or whatever it was, rediscovering his work again on Ultimate X-Men was a huge turning point for me. Alex Ross is another artist that, discovering his work brought me back into comics when I was in high school. And then when I was, in college and kind of reading more, more image titles and things like that, like I was reading Walking Dead like everybody else. So Tony Moore and Charlie Adlard and, Darwin Cook is somebody else who really spoke to me. So there's almost too many to name, but and it's weird. You throwing out names. It's sort of like, I'm sure there are people that I've said before who are, worth mentioning, but it's tough.
Of course, nobody's gonna. Hey, listen, nobody's gonna take offense if you didn't mention them. And
I better not get a single angry email from anybody. I'm sorry.
What's it like being a comic book artist during these COVID-19 times? What, like, because most of your work is done, it's freelance, right? You're a freelance artist. Yeah. So how does that work for someone like you?
Well, I mean, it's in some ways nothing's changed, but at the same time, it's the world around me has changed. It's really more the level of uncertainty that is most troubling, I suppose. So there's like a lot of, like everybody else, like I'm troubled by what we see going on, and I worry about keeping myself safe and healthy, keeping my family safe and healthy. But then there's also you worry about the economy, and you're seeing how this is affecting the comic book industry, and so with comics not shipping at all, that puts publishers in a tough spot, and that trickles carries over to the creators. And so when comics aren't shipping and they get suspended, that means tons of freelancers are left wondering what to do and left trying to figure out how to make ends meet. And so that's affected me to a large degree as well. At the time of when we're all told pencils down, I was working on a second volume of Punk Mambo for Valiant. And so, we've had to put that on hold and adjust the timetable for Punk Mambo. And so we're hoping that, things die down, hopefully soon, so that we can get back to work on that and hopefully see a release, in late 2020. I was also working on a book for an annual for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that I was very excited about. So that was paused for a little bit. I'm happy to report that I'm currently working on it again. Yeah. So it's just, there's these things where you just don't really, you think, well, stores are closing. That doesn't really affect me. That's terrible and so on. But, at least I'll be able to draw my comics, because I think that working as a freelancer, you think, well, I don't have to go into an office, so I might be immune from this. And instead, you're seeing this pandemic affect every aspect of our day-to-day lives, whether it's our working life, our personal life, all that. And so it's shaken everybody. And but for my own sake, I've been very fortunate in that I've been, I've still had some freelance work come in despite all of this. And also I've had a ton of commission work from people who have, have been very kind. Just want to quickly say thank you to everybody who has, commissioned me during all of this. It's
Right.
really helped, and it means a whole lot that there are people out there who continue to support not just myself, but other artists and retailers. There's been I've seen a lot of wonderful efforts to keep this industry alive, from other creators, other retailers, and also just fans and readers. So it is beautiful to see that in a troubling time like this, that the people who love this industry will step up and try and offer any kind of support that they can to see that things go relatively smoothly.
Right. Well said. Well said, man. Can I elect you president of comics?
Sure.
Yeah, just
I'm not
comics
doing
in
anything.
general, the industry, the whole industry.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
I mean,
really well said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. When the industry initially went into shutdown mode and Diamond Comics decided to halt distribution of new comics, and various publishers came out with their announcements that they were going to put a pause on production. I know a lot of people prematurely declared the death of the comic book industry, but it's awesome to see how everybody's kind of come together to make sure that we get through these times. From the publishers and distributors right down to the creators, the retailers, and most importantly the fans, to ensure that that we keep motoring through this, and that we're I really firmly believe that we're going to come out on the other end bigger and badder than ever.
I think an opportunity like this, I call it an opportunity, but let's just say an event like this does give the opportunity to learn from what could be improved upon. We're seeing a lot of our infrastructure take hits and problems being revealed, and that's certainly true of the comic book industry. So I think when this is done, we'll be going about things in a smarter and more innovative way. And I saw that same kind of alarmist attitude about comics being done and in the ground and not knowing it yet. And that always kind of I never take that kind of talk seriously, because the fact of the matter is that even if nobody was paying me to draw comics, I'm still a storyteller at heart, and I would be drawing comics for myself. And I think that's true of every creator that I know.
Right.
And so I think that even if the main hub or industry or whatever, even if that ceased to be for a little bit or undergoes a radical change, you're still going to see tons of creators who refuse to give up their passion and will be putting out content digitally for online in some capacity. So I don't as an art form and as a medium, it's never ever going away. It just it'll evolve, and it'll take maybe a different shape. But people who love comics and love making comics will, that'll never change.
Awesome. Yeah, agree with you 100%. Let's talk about, just before we go, Teuton. Teuton with Fred Kennedy, Fearless Fred.
My brother Fred.
One of my most awesome, my favorite graphic novel trilogies of all time. Will we see a return to Teuton at any point in the future? Or if you don't want to say, if you don't want to disclose,
we had this.
That's okay.
Fred and I had this really cool idea about a follow-up to Teuton when we finished our epic trilogy.
Right.
But like a lot of things, we had other stories that we wanted to tell, and then I started getting more mainstream work and doing from one thing to another. And so independent books, it can be hard to when you got bills to pay and all that, it can be hard to return to them.
Yep.
So ideally somebody would pay us to do more Teuton. But I got to say, for the record, working on Teuton was a wonderful experience for me personally, just because it put me partnered up with Fred Kennedy, who's become very much like a brother to me, and he's one of the most wonderful and supportive human beings I've ever known. And as I worked on it, Fred paid me a page rate the entire time and made sure that I was taken care of. So it was, you can't ask.
You don't find that a lot in small press or indie comics.
It's hard for people.
Tough.
It's hard for people to do.
Yeah.
And but Fred was able to do it, and it wasn't always easy for him, but he made sure that he always did right by me. And so I mean,
we have
really,
an awesome comic that came from it. So
yes,
and a little bit of trivia. Myself and Rob, do you remember when we contributed to a page of Teuton? You'd left the page you were working on out at, I think it was at like Wizard World Toronto or something.
I stepped away from my
You stepped away, and Rob and I just added a couple lines of black in there for you. So I think it's in volume 1 of Teuton. It's actually, Rob and I deserve co-creator credit for that. Obviously, we helped create the world of Teuton.
We'll have your people call my people, and
we'll work it all.
We'll get to the bottom of that. But as far as more to, probably not. But Fred and I do have something else that we want to do together, and so we've actually, we've put together a pitch that for a news story that he and I have created, and hopefully there'll come a time where we can get that off of the ground.
Awesome, man. I love it when you guys work together. You always do such great stuff. So
thank you.
Listen, Adam, thank you so much for taking part in this today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your social distancing schedule on the weekend. I know you've got a busy household there too.
I'm making French toast after this for
can we all come along and have some?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. The start of Adam Gorham's cooking channel starts today on Instagram Live. Adam, where can people go? I've got your links to Instagram and Twitter up on the screen there. Obviously, that's the best place to see what you're working on, and you post there pretty regularly. So I encourage people to go check that out. But you mentioned your art dealer site, your art rep site earlier.
Yes.
What was that again?
InkyKnuckles.com, and so you can go to InkyKnuckles.com to check out not only myself but all of the artists and their works that Cam represents. There's I'm in league with some truly spectacular artists over at Inky Knuckles.
Is that how you spell it? Inky Knuckles, like that?
Inky, yep, that's correct.
Okay,
and
great.
And then you can email Cam at InkyKnuckles.com for any commission inquiries or art sales. And then apart from that, I have a big cartel store that I use to sell my sketchbooks. So my first ever sketchbook, Burning Ink, that I released in 2019, there are still copies available. So you can get stuff through there as well.
Adam Gorham on Big Cartel. So we can look that up as well and get copies of your sketchbook. Okay, Adam, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks for always being super supportive of everything we do here at Stadium Comics. I know we annoy you a lot with all of our requests for you. I'm just joking.
Get out of here.
But no, really appreciate it, man, from the heart. It's been great having you associated with us over the years. And once we're out of this COVID-19 thing, let's get together and have a drink. Drinks on Rob.
Wonderful.
Drinks on Rob. Right?
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.
And have a good one, man. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was Adam Gorham, superstar artist for Marvel Comics, IDW Comics, Valiant, and lots of cool independent stuff that he's worked on over the years. Big thanks to Adam for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to take a break again in a moment. Just want to go over what's coming next for you guys. We have got the schedule here, and at 12 o'clock, we're going to be doing our session with Alex Milne. We're going to have some signed comics, sketches, and original pages available during that time. And at 12:30 p.m., we're doing our big exclusive variant cover reveal, which will be awesome as well. I hope you guys are having fun. Let's just take a quick look at the comments. Everybody is asking for an Adam Gorham live draw, how to draw a calzone live. Anna Marie is seconding that request. So Adam, you might have your work cut out for you on Instagram Live soon. So that's awesome. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you at 12 o'clock. I'm going to go and drink a glass of water, and I will be right back. Thanks, everybody. That was awesome, Adam. Thank you. You did good, man. You did good.
Thank you. That was really fun. And it was nice to get to talk to you. It's been a little while.
Yeah, man. I'm serious about us going to grab a drink, though, soon, as long as we're legally able.
I'd really like that as well. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of children war stories to share.
Everything going good with the kids?
Yeah, it really is. They're both wonderful. Tesh has been really terrific about keeping them up to date with their schoolwork, and so they're hilarious, and I just am happy to see them do so well in isolation. I was worried that maybe we'd all go stir crazy, but they're just they're handling it really well.